Hi, everybody. It's Miss Amy, and I'm here to read Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach, chapters 19 and 20. Now, remember, boys and girls, Miss Amy does not own the rights to this book. She just owns the book, and she's glad she gets to share it with you. Yeah, you, right there. Right there. Yep, with you. So yesterday when we left, the creatures and James were trying to figure out how they were going to survive. And of course, gloomy old earthworm just was being so negative. But they finally opened his eyes to show him it wasn't that bad. So let's go ahead and crack the spine and see what's inside. "Look!" cried the centipede just as they were finishing their meal. "Look at that funny thing, thin black thing gliding through the water over there." They all swung around and looked to take a look. "There are two of them," said Miss Spider. "There are lots of them," said Ladybug. "What are they?" asked the earthworm, getting worried. "They must be some kind of fish," said the old green grasshopper. "Perhaps they have come along to say hello." "They are sharks!" cried the earthworm. "I'll bet you anything you like that they are sharks, and they have come along to eat us up." "What absolute rot," the centipede said, but his voice seemed suddenly to have become a little shaky, and he wasn't laughing. "I'm positive they're sharks," said the earthworm. "I just know they are sharks." And so, in actual fact, did everybody else but they were too frightened to admit it. There was a short silence. They all peered down anxiously at the sharks, who were cruising slowly round and round the peach. "Just assuming that they are sharks," the centipede said, "there still can't possibly be any danger if we stay up here." But even as he spoke, one of those thin black fins suddenly changed directions and came cutting swiftly through the water right up to the side of the peach itself. The shark paused and stared up at the company with small, evil eyes. "Go away!" they shouted. "Go away, you filthy beast!" Slowly, almost lazily, the shark opened his mouth. Which was big enough to have swallowed a perambulator, and made a lunge at the peach. Ah! They all watched aghast. They were scared, they were shocked, they were stunned. And now, as though at a signal from the leader, all the other sharks came swimming in toward the peach, and they clustered around it and began to attack it furiously. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Bunch of sharks are eating that peach. That's no bueno. There must have been 20 or 30 of them at least, all pushing and fighting and lashing their tails and churning the water into a froth. Into a froth. I like froth. I like froth on top of my coffee. Good. Panic and pandemonium broke out immediately on top of the Peach. "Oh, we're finished now," cried Miss Spider, wringing her feet. She's wringing her feet. "They will eat up the whole Peach, and then there'll be nothing left for us to stand on, and they'll start on us." "She is right," shouted Ladybug. "We're lost forever." "Oh, I don't want to be eaten," wailed the earthworm. And here we see them all on top of the Peach. And down here we see all the sharks. So there's our people, or our creatures, and James on top of the Peach. And we go down, down, down. Look at the sharks. No, no. What's gonna happen next? Trying to figure out who was speaking. "But they will take me first of all because I'm so fat and juicy and I have no bones." "Is there nothing we can do?" asked the ladybug, appealing to James. "Surely you can think of a way out of this." Suddenly, they were all looking at James. The last time they all looked at James, remember? We were concerned that they were going to eat James, weren't we? James was concerned he was going to get eaten too. "Think," begged Miss Spider. "Think, James! Think!" "Come on," said the centipede. "Come on, James! There must be something we can do." Their eyes waited upon him, tense, anxious, pathetically hopeful. I don't think there's anything about hope that's pathetic. And there they are all staring at James. And now we're going into chapter 20. "There is something that I believe we might try," James Henry Trotter said slowly. "I'm not saying it'll work." "Tell us," cried the earthworm. "Tell us quick." "We'll try anything you say," said the centipede. "But hurry! Hurry! Hurry!" "Be quiet and let the boy speak," said Ladybug. "Go on, James." They all moved a little closer to him. There was a longish pause. "Go on!" they cried frantically. "Go on!" And all the time while they were waiting, they could hear the sharks threshing around in the water below them. It was enough to make anyone frantic. "Come on, James," the ladybug said, coaxing him. I'm afraid it's no good after all," James murmured, shaking his head. "I'm terribly sorry. I forgot. We don't have any string. We need hundreds of yards of string to make this work." "What sort of string?" asked the old green grasshopper shortly. "Any sort, just so long as it's strong." "But my dear boy, that's exactly what we do have. We've got all you want." "How? Where?" "The silkworm," cried the old green grasshopper. Didn't you ever notice the silkworm? She's still downstairs. She never moves. She just lies there sleeping all day long. But we can easily wake her up and make her spin. And what about me, may I ask? Said Miss Spider. I can spin just as well as any silkworm. What's more, I can spin patterns. Can you make enough between you? James asked. Sorry, I had to make sure I read that right. As much as you want, and quickly. Of course, of course. And would it be strong? The strongest there is. It's as thick as your finger. But why? What are you going to do? I'm going to lift this peach clear out of the water, James announced firmly. You're mad, cried the earthworm. It's our only chance. The boy's crazy. He's joking. Go on, James, the ladybug said gently. How are you going to do it? Skyhooks, I suppose, jeered the centipede. Seagulls, James answered calmly. This place is full of them. Look up there. They better cover their heads if there's seagulls up there. They might help them out with this peach. We're going to have to wait and see. But while they're doing everything and they're flying over their head, they better take cover. They might drop a few bombs on them. And I'm not talking about the kind that explode. No. That's nasty. They all looked up and saw a great mass of seagulls wheeling around and around in the sky. I'm going to take a long silk string, James went on, and I'm going to loop it, one end of it, around a seagull's neck. Is what I think. But let's continue on and see what happens. And then I'm going to tie the other end to the stem of the peach. He pointed to the peach stem, which was standing up like a short, thick mass in the middle of a deck. Then I'm going to get another seagull and do the same thing again, then another and another. Oh, those poor seagulls. Ooh. They're going to choke. I don't know. Let's see. A lot of strange things are happening in this book. Maybe it can happen. Ridiculous! They shouted. Absurd! Poppycock! Balderdash! Which happens to be one of my favorite games. Madness! And the old green grasshopper said, how can a few seagulls lift an enormous thing like this up into the air, and all of us as well? It would take hundreds, thousands. There is no shortage of seagulls, James answered. Look for yourself. We'll probably need 400, 500, 600, maybe even 1,000. I don't know. I shall simply go on hooking them up to the stem until we have enough to lift us off. They'll be bound to lift us in the end. It's like balloons. You give someone enough balloons to hold, really enough, then up he goes. And a seagull has far more lifting power than a balloon. If only we have the time to do it. If only we are not sunk first by those awful sharks. I love, 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 love James's hope now. He's not being hopeless, even though all his new creature friends are totally not believing in him at all. You're absolutely off your head, said the earthworm. How on earth do you suppose to get a loop of string around a seagull's neck? I suppose you're going to fly up there yourself and catch it. The boy's dotty, said the centipede. Let him finish, said the ladybug. Go on, James. How would you do it? With bait. Bait? What sort of bait? With a worm, of course. Seagulls love worms. Didn't you know that? And luckily for us, we have here the biggest, fattest, I hate that word, pinkest, juiciest earthworm in the world. I wonder how earthworm feels about that. You can stop right there, the earthworm said sharply. That's quite enough. Go on, the other said, beginning to grow interested. Go on. The seagulls have already spotted him, James continued. That's why there are so many of them circling around. But they daren't come down to get them while all the rest of us are standing here. So this is what... Stop! Cried the earthworm. Stop! 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 I won't have it. I refuse. I... Be quiet, said the centipede. Mind your own business. I like that. My dear earthworm, you're going to be eaten anyways, so what difference does it make whether it's sharks or seagulls? I won't do it. Why don't we hear what the plan is first? Said the old green grasshopper. I don't give a hoot what the plan is, cried the earthworm. I'm going to be pecked to death by a bunch of seagulls. You'll be a martyr, said the centipede. I shall respect you for the rest of my life. So will I, said Miss Spider, and your name will be in all the newspapers. Earthworm gives life to save friends. But he won't have to give his life, James told him. Now listen to me. This is what we'll do. Oh, what a cliffhanger, boys and girls, because that gets us to the end of chapter 20, and you will have to wait back until tomorrow to hear chapter 21 and chapter 2. What I'd like to point out from what we've learned today in James and the Giant Peach is that James never gave up hope. And even some of James's friends began to believe in him. I bet you James has never had anybody believe in him. And just by his friends believing in him, he's going to just have a boost of self-esteem. So, boys and girls, always have hope and always believe in yourself and never give up. Thank you so much for enjoying chapters 19 and 20 of James and the Giant Peach with Miss Amy. If you're watching this before bedtime, good night and sleep tight.